Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spiritual Successor, comedy video game design podcast. We're taking over the internet from the next AAA titles. I'm your host, AJ Hart.
I'm sorry. Is this like the sped up episode? Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Blake Rhea, and this is a comedy podcast where we take your best, beautiful, weirdest, strangest ideas from the internet and turn them into the next AAA video game titles that should not be made. AJ, how the hell are you? We're back.
I'm doing.
Well, go ahead.
You ask me a question, then you keep talking. You know that we're on a delay. You can't do that.
Well, I mean, we're on a little bit better. We're like on a smaller delay. Just to inform everybody what's going on right now. Since AJ moved, we have been dealing with nothing but like weird internet spotty issues on both of our ends. Actually, now that I think about it, AJ, since you moved, that's when all of my internet shit started happening. So I'm wondering.
I stole your internet and threw it in a dumpster along my drive.
And so AJ and I have been deduced to just talking on the phone, like calling each other, rather than
perhaps
Discord.
It isn't even that we missed an episode this week. Perhaps this is the correct episode for the week. We never missed one. It's just that this is how bad the internet and our reception is we can't get it up in time.
Oh, okay. Take that audio segment and save that for later.
Yep. No, of course, this is a gag. Blake Rhea, we missed a week last week, which means that we should have had plenty of free time last week to really just stretch our gamer legs and, experience some Vibio games. So what did you go out and, taste, palette, and sample? That way you had some new current heat to bring to our game design studio.
I have been playing two games right now. I have been playing a lot of Sinking City, which is kind of like, think LA Noire, but in a Lovecraft universe, and it's open world.
Okay,
really fucking cool. And Paper Mario, the Origami King. And those are like two just moods on the opposite side of the spectrum of like, hey, this is a game about like really adult topics such as racism and political tension and just, just drama. And then it's like, then you have Mario doing a sweet fucking choreographed dance with bob-ombs and other toads and goombas, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just so joyful. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah, you know what? No, I'm in kind of a similar spot myself actually, because the two games that I kind of went out and taste palated over the week was I watched the entire 4-hour movie of Metal Gear Solid, and then I played a shit ton of Bug Snacks.
Both of those are. You know what's so weird? It's like they're both games that are pretty fucking out there.
I don't know, Metal Gear Solid, except for the part where
you have to leave your console on.
People.
Well, you have to leave
there
your console on
people.
for 3 days, and then that's
that's a different Metal Gear game. Metal Gear Solid, there was a guy that could read your controller memory and could move your controller all on his own because he was super cool and had psychic powers.
God, that's so fucking cool, actually. So wait, so you just watched all the cutscenes for Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah, for the first one, yeah.
And there's 4 hours of cutscenes in the first one?
Yes. The first one being like the first 3D modeled one, not like the top-down like sprite one, like Metal Gear Solid, the one where, Psycho Mantis and Liquid Ocelot and all of them are.
Bro, that's like a lot of fucking cutscene. What are you sure it was 4 hours?
Yes, I'm positive because I watched half of it and almost fell asleep.
Yes, because I think of because on my YouTube, based off of my search bullshit, like I do get like those suggestions of like, hey, here's all the Mass Effect cutscenes, or hey, here's all the Last of Us Part 1 cutscenes. Those things, like Mass Effect is not a good example, but like for things like Last of Us or other single player like shit like that, it's like you only get like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of cutscenes. And Metal Gear Solid.
Here's the big reason for that is because games like Mass Effect and stuff, they were able to put like all of the needed dialogue would be over gameplay. And Metal Gear, at least like Solid, comes from a time when like narrative over gameplay maybe wasn't as big of a thing. You know what I mean? Like. But
then,
and
but
like
that's
a lot
like
of conversations are
game.
a lot of the conversations are all in like the little codec visual novel thing. And then the other thing is that this game has a shit ton of like actually like shot cinematography based, like framed 2 shots wides, close-ups, all with their character models that have no animation. And it is the funniest thing in the world, Blake.
Wait,
Because like
okay.
it'll do like a dramatic slow zoom in on Snake's model that cannot animate his face other than bobbing up and down. And it'll be like, Metal Gear. And it's
That's that for 4 fucking hours. No, I couldn't do
yeah,
that, dude.
it rules.
What year was that made? It was like 1997, right? Was the first Metal Gear?
The Metal Gear Solid? I got no
Yeah.
idea. You want me to Google?
Well, I mean,
Hold
this is
on.
like, but that's just surprising to me for like a 90s game. Like a 90s game with 4 hours of cinematics just sounds fucking buck wild. That sounds like a game that should not be made. It's like, that's 4 hours of gameplay you could be having, you know? But then again, it's Metal Gear. By the side note,
It's
I'm
Metal
not a big
Gear.
fan of the Metal. I'm not a big fan of the Metal Gear series. I
You
know.
should watch the movie. I think you'd be a big fan of the movie, is the thing. Metal
Yeah?
Gear, the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. You know our good friend Otocon, the cool homeboy that's on the phone with Snake all the time?
Yeah.
I just discovered why he's named Otocon.
Is it a sweet fucking action thing?
Absolutely the fuck not. It's short for Otaku Convention.
Wait, is that one of the scenes in the game? Is there like a
Yes.
scene where
He
he's
says,
like, "Do you want?"
says, hey, call me Otacon. It's short for Otaku Convention. Otakus
no.
like me are cool people that love robots, and that's why I'm a super scientist. I built a dope robot for super defense, not knowing it was going to be used for nuclear missiles. Call me
That feels
Otacon.
like-
I just pissed myself. Snake, you're the coolest man alive.
I feel like that's like something I'd find on like the I am very badass Reddit, where he's like, you know like when Vietnam people are like, you want to know how I got my call sign? You want to know how I got my name? And then he just pulls up his wallet, and unraveling from his wallet is just a bunch of con pictures where he's getting spanked with like a yaoi paddle, and just. He's like,
Hey, Snake, have I ever told you about a yaoi paddle? Ugh, yaoi paddle.
He's just, and he just, all right, AJ, picture this.
And
picture
don't even
this,
get me
picture this.
started on glomping. Glomping? Anyway, so glomping was a thing in the early aughts. Anyway, we can't do this. Blake, we missed a week. We have to get to our actual podcast.
No, wait, no. I have a funny thing. There's a reason Snake always keeps fucking Otacon on the phone, and rather than taking him on missions, because anytime Otacon sees Snake in person, he fucking glomps him. And and Snake has had enough of it. He is tired of it. He just like, Otacon, all right, cool, dude. Like, you have your passion. You have your shit that you like. That's cool. Don't fucking touch me.
Don't touch me, Otacon. I'm sick of your glomping. It's fucking 2018, Otacon.
You just come into Otacon's office and he's just fucking blasting Caro Benito. And he's just fucking with a Wacom tablet just drawing. All right.
Blake,
Otacon's pretty cool, actually.
yeah, no, it's the thing is that I've now discovered how funny it is to bully Otacon, which means a lot of things. Primarily, it means that he's now one of my now I like him even more because if you give me a fictional character and then say, "Go on, AJ, you can bully him," I'm like, yes.
All right, AJ. So we just got a call from your favorite gacha game, Fate Go, right? This one comes to us from hexavexagon.itch.io at hexavexagon. Man, game about famous writers, but they're in a noir detective agency and also have superpowers. This is a real anime, but I'm hoping you don't know the context.
It's Bungo Stray Dogs. Fucking don't even try with me. It's Bungo Stray Dogs.
Okay, imagine that anime
Bungo.
doesn't exist. No, AJ. Imagine that anime doesn't exist because
Okay,
I know you're really
got it.
into Fate
Yeah,
Go.
Bungo's gone.
We just got hired to make the next. What are they called in the Fate? The strands or the cycles? Like, because
Lost
there
belts?
you go. Yeah, we're making the
Lost
next chapter of
Belts.
Lost Belt, which is like that's their version of like multiverse. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna do a Lost Belt, and this game takes place in that Lost Belt where it's all about fantasy writers. But we also need to keep in mind, how can we gotcha the fuck out of this game? I want to take Fate Go, which is already a perfect gotcha mechanic game, and turn it up to 11. And I need your help on that because you have way more gotcha experience than I do. You could put that on a resume, by the way. I played 400 hours of gotcha and can
So
spend a
when you
single
say
dollar.
turn the gotcha up, what exactly does that mean? Also, I just realized that since I'm wearing different headphones, I don't hear myself the same way, and so I think I've been yelling into the mic and blasted my audio file in the front half. Whoopsie. When you say turn the gotcha up
Yeah.
to 11, what do you mean by that? Are you talking like hyper taking advantage, like a Genshin Impact, or do you mean like turning it up like, ooh, we want more gotcha things? Like, what do you give me a little
I
something?
want to do a thing because I've been actually this actually ties back into what
Also,
we were
the other
talking
problem
about.
is with using Fate Grand Order as our evidence for this, there's already all sorts of writers in this game. We already got Hans Christian Andersen. We already got Billy Shakes.
Well, okay, imagine well, this is also a multiverse, so I'm imagining they could be different versions of themselves in that universe. So like that doesn't bother me. But circling back because this actually ties into what this weirdly enough ties into what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. I've been playing a lot of Sinking City, which is a investigative like noir story where you have to collect info and combine it. It has this really unique mechanic where it's called the Mind Palace, where it shows you all of the information and clues you've collected in your current case, and you could pick one clue and another clue and combine them and see if it gives you more evidence or more clues. So what I'm suggesting is, if we're gonna do this as a noir story, I think, what if you did a gotcha thing where you random roll rather than characters or JPEGs? Random roll different parts of the story. So you have to like do gotcha to get different chapters, but you don't get them in order. You do not get them in order. You have to like, you get a scene from chapter 11, but then the next thing you roll is a scene from chapter 2, and you have to like keep playing or doing the battle mechanics or whatever the hell happens in that game until you can collect the whole story and figure out how it goes together.
Hey
and
guys,
maybe you can
the second murder banner is going on. Are you gonna be rolling to see the second murder? No, I'm thinking really yucked out by the murder scene, so I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on the watch the murder happen banner. But when the Dame walks in scene banner comes in 2 weeks from now, I will be wailing on that one.
So yeah, I'm thinking it would be fun because you would have to then like piece together information, and maybe it could be that you need to get certain scenes, you need to have access to prior scenes. So like, hey, you need scene 1 and 3 to unlock scene 10 or something like that. So it just becomes this big puzzle game of trying to figure out and unearth the story together.
We'll have to pay us or grind for an indeterminate amount of time in order for them to see our full game, our full Pulp Fiction out of order game.
And you know what you could do too is that scenes also have different like. This is because I'm understanding a lot of gotcha is built around the different costumes and JPEGs that you can have for these characters.
One day you're gonna play a gotcha game so you can kind of have an idea of what we're talking about.
No, I think it's funnier for me to assume what gotcha is. Just the stuff I've absorbed through osmosis. But what I'm thinking is, and this is taking Arkham Horror, the card game, does this really fucked up kind of thing that I don't like, but they actually make novels that you like, little novellas that take place in the board game's universe, and with that book becomes unique cards that you can only get by buying a fucking $20 book for 3 cards. And I'm like, hey, they're also, but the fucked up part is they're some of the best cards in the game. Like everybody's like, man, well, unless you have that card from this character's like book, your deck's always going to be weak. And I'm like, that's fucked up. I don't want to read a whole book. Most of the time the books are bad too. So
we don't buy books to read them, idiot. We buy books to put them on our shelves.
Don't call me out like this. So what I'm thinking is
I'm calling you out. I'm calling out anybody. I'm calling me out. Man, I own 3 Log Horizon books. I've never read one.
okay, but circling back. What I'm thinking is that certain JPEGs are tied to certain scenes. So like, let's say a scene is a gala event. If you collect that scene, it then also comes with a custom JPEG of everybody's gala outfit or whatever, a random gala outfit from that scene.
Oh, one thing that is that giving in a gotcha, my dear friend, you have much to learn. We will announce the gala event wherein you will have to roll for each person's gala outfit, but that's just gotcha. There's no hee hee ha ha games that shouldn't be made there.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Like,
so okay, go ahead.
let's put a pin in this and move on. I think that you've got something here with has to roll gotcha for cutscenes. I think there's something there. But I want to put a pin in that, and we got to keep rolling through here because we do have 2 weeks worth of content to get through.
Yeah. That's kind of, like one of the little benefits. Like, also, everybody, thank you very much for letting us take a break. We were just kind of like, we just needed it. We just need some space now. We come back recuperated, really fucking amped. But that is one of the side benefits of taking a week off is like, now instead of like having like 30 submissions to reference, we have like something along the lines of like 60 or 80.
We've got 60 something submissions, and we can't sit around and thank everybody. They know how appreciative we are. We have to get through all of these bad boys lightning round style.
All right. Give me a submission then. Give me a submission.
This comes from Trans Artist of the Day at trans_artists, a fishing simulator game that is also a dating sim. Detailed dialogue options can show up while you're in the middle of fishing, making you choose between your 2 loves, the person you're talking to or the fish waiting to be caught.
Really quickly. Is this a thing of where there are just like full waifus just chilling out under the water and you just pull them up via hook? Or are these actual
this is something that I'm thinking about because like on one hand, like, is it much funnier to have like a full dating game where the dating is like the girls are attached to the locations and like the fish are completely separate? Or is it a dating game wherein to get the girl you must fish her out of the water? Here's the thing, I know that fishing will be a key mechanic because like fishing games exist as such a thing that like I don't personally get them. I've played plenty of JRPGs, but the fishing part of the JRPG has never really hit with me. But maybe it's because I've never had anime girls tied to them intrinsically before.
See, it's so fucked up like that you could do is like one of the big things about fishing culture is like, hey, what's the weirdest thing I can put on my hook to catch a fish? Like my brother is always telling me stories about how he would, when he goes fishing, he likes to use pieces of cheeseburger or uses some sort of granola bar or something just to see how fish react to it. So, like in Danganronpa, like only certain people like certain gifts that you give them. To catch certain waifus, you have to figure out what to put on your hook to catch that waifu. Be like, hey, what kind of wife are you hunting for today? Well, I'm kind of looking for like I want a hot goth GF, so I'm gonna put a tarot card deck on the end of my hook, and I'm gonna cast that into the lake, and I'm gonna see what I can find. So
or is it perhaps way funnier to think of like a full dating game that is like it just has its own like dating game paths, its own like trivia options, memory dating game stuff. That the RPG or the fishing game is just tied to right there in front of. So like that's all the game design. You know what I mean? Like, which is funnier? The idea that you need to fish to get the girl, or that fishing would be you avoiding the date full on. Like, yeah, I'm going out to fish with this person, but I do not give 2 fucks about them. I'm out there to catch the biggest fish I can today.
So are you saying it's like a do you ever play the game Golf Story, which is just basically it's a slice of life simulator, but the backdrop is that your character just wants to play golf, and it's like all of the little interpersonal people like relationships that he makes around the golf field in the city that he lives in. Is that what you're saying? It's like you are dating, but against the backdrop of fishing. Um,
Yeah. Or is it even that, like, fishing, you catch the right fish and the person that you're out fishing with is impressed by it? Like, you go
mhm.
out with Chadley, and Chadley's like, hey, how many tuna can you catch today? If you catch 57 fish in this one trip, I'll give you a little smooch. Mwah.
I'll give you a little smooch. I
Like, there's so many angles here, and I'm just not sure
uh-huh,
which
uh-huh.
one is objectively the funniest. You know what I
I
mean?
I don't. I think here's the thing. I think whatever you catch, there has to be some waifu element or some like dating element to it. Do you remember that one game that's coming out? It's called Boyfriend Dungeon, I think it is.
Yes. Of course
Boyfriend
I know about Boyfriend
is
Dungeon.
Are you doing and this is going to be a very weird question, so brace yourselves. Are we anthropomorphizing these fish? So it's like you catch the fish and then they turn into an anthropomorphic entity. So like you catch a rainbow trout, I think that's a fish, and then it just like and then reveals like some magnificent character with like a rainbow cloak, and they're just like beautiful, and you want to romance them. Is
I
that
don't think we can do that because you're going to catch so many rainbow trout. Okay, I've thought about this more, and like I've thought about how this works as a
you
game the
get
best.
some waifus are
And
rarer
here's
than
how
others?
Yeah. Here's how it works the best. There will be different locations that you go to fish to. Each
Mhm,
location will have a different date associated with it. You go
mhm,
down to the docks, you're going to get the fisherman boyfriend. You go down to like the beach, you're going to get the cool beach babe. You go
mhm.
down to like the Siren's Cove, there's going to be a mermaid there. You go down to like the swampland, you're going to find swamp man, and he's like super big and handsome. Has long like swamp seaweed hair, and the locations
He's
are
like a total
tied
surfer,
to
bro, which is kind of weird
yeah
because he's in
yeah
a swamp.
the locations have the dates.
Mhm, mhm,
Each date then requires different things from the fishing, and kind of like how Honey Pop had like different girls that liked different colors of matches,
mhm.
different dates will be impressed by different
Oh,
fishing things. So
okay. So are you saying is this like I have never played a
you
fishing
fish
game in my
good. You fish what they ask you to get. If they're like, oh, how many? I really like rainbow tuna, and then
Mhm.
you get a rainbow tuna out, you're gonna get a bunch of points for that date, and the little bar is gonna go.
Uh, so how about this? Just to add a little bit of just kind of complexity to it. Everything that they crave is something that they can't get in their area. So that makes like unlocking new areas a thing. So it'll be like you go on your first date, goes great, and then they're like, "Hey, I want to go on another date with you. But I would love some rainbow trout for that." That mean that, and then after that conversation, like, "Oh, the lake by the mountains unlocks," and then you can go
Oh
there
yeah,
and
so you're
mm,
fishing to bring gifts back to other people, but while you're
yes,
fishing, you're having discussions with the person at that location so you can find
yes,
out what they want. And that's
yes.
why you have to like keep that notepad with you so you remember, okay, Loch Ness boy wants rainbow trout, and the fisherman, he wants to get some alligator meat from the swamp, but the siren wants to get some catfish, but I don't know
Mm.
where catfish are yet. And you have like this whole
But there should,
like
you know what? There be also really cool too. There should be like a day night cycle to where it's like you can only. I've been watching the Game Grumps play Danganronpa, and I want to play those games so bad now. It's like the way they set it up is you can only hang out with two people every single day. So it'll be like, hey, do you want to commit your time to fishing? Do you want to commit your time to hanging out with somebody? You have limited amount of time, so that means there's like maybe there's a schedule to this game. It'll be like, hey, I would love to go on a date with you later tonight. Bring some rainbow trout with you. So you have the rest of the day to figure that out, but you also have some time to kill.
But you can't
Or
get too distracted and getting too involved with the conversation because of you missed your bite.
but all right. Real quick question though: is this a game that should not be made? That's the big thing about it.
Yeah, the problem is that now that I'm thinking about it, a dating game with fishing as the main mechanic sounds so cool and good is the problem.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah, this may not be a game that should not be made. Do we want to put a pin in it and move on?
Wait, hold on. We pitch it to Nintendo Labo, so you get a fucking you get you get
Motion
a
controls,
you
yes.
get your but the motion controls are just absolute fucking garbage, and you have this but we pitch it as like a really fun thing, like, yeah, you get your own custom like fishing pole, which I think they already have, And you get to like put stickers on it. It has like has the whole cast of like all the people you can date. You can put your favorite sticker on that fishing pole, like, you know, or make a
Yeah. But then, like,
something.
the actual game, you have to hold the stupid thing and, like, wind it like you're actually fishing. Like, could you imagine, like, doing the little tiny circles with the stupid Joy-Cons? Okay, putting a pin in this, let's move on. Oh,
All right.
man, and we could, like, market the fact that it's got, like, HD Rumble or whatever, and we get back on that Senran, and then, like, we call up Nintendo, and we're like, hey, I know that you guys are kind of trying to separate yourselves from the brand, but we think the Senran Kagura was onto something with that booby physics HD Rumble thing, so let's get that tech back over here.
Wait, was that a thing? Was that
Yes, it was
legit?
a thing.
Wait, what? Wait, what? How does that work? Is like the only thing I remember them like pitching and talking about was like, yeah, the HD Rumble is so good, you can feel like individual marbles in your hands. Like that was like their big talking point.
And that's what Nintendo said. And then Senran Kagura came out and they said, "How's it going? We're trying to make it so that when you shake and jostle and shove with the HD Rumble on your Joy-Con, it feels like you're slapping and grabbing and groping some boobies."
Hey AJ, I don't know who
How's
the
it going?
fuck's
We're Senran Kagura. We're about to make you horny for your Switch Joy-Con.
Wait, hold on. This is a point that needs to be discussed. AJ,
What?
In my very short career of dating, I've never had boobs vibrate on me. And I don't like that concept. I don't think
That's
boobs
just the power of the HD
I don't think
Rumble,
boobs vibrate.
dog.
I don't think boobs vibrate. Why?
No. It's not about that. It's about how how it would the weight in your hands or something. I don't know, dude. I haven't played this game yet. I just know that they said
the weight doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, you feel the weight of it. It'd be like, no, you're feeling the weight of a Switch controller
take it up
in your
with
head.
Tony
It doesn't get heavier.
Kagura, dog. It's not me that said it.
I know it's not you that said it. I'm just flabbergasted by the concept of like, yeah, you could feel the weight of them, and I'm like, what? No, you're feeling the weight of a Switch controller. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It's HD Rumble. We can say anything we want. Our Joy-Cons are going, with the power of HD Rumble, we're going to make you feel like if you were actually holding a fish, if you were actually slapping someone's butt, and if you were actually reeling in a fish. Yeah, that's kind of all we got is fish and butt, but what do you want from us?
Hey, what's your selling point? Well, when you reel in a fish and hold that fish up, your controller lets out a bunch of slappy slap sounds, like wet slap sounds, and it just like vibrates on you or it pulsates on you.
These Joy-Cons are gonna bounce out of your hands, I swear. Do you want to give me a game? With the power of Switch Pro, we're going to have HD Rumble.
What does HD stand for? Oh, it's horny dog.
Horny. High definition horny dog rumble.
Horny dog rumble. All right. Enough of that. This comes to us on Twitter from Drew Davenport at _Davenporter. Soul Harvest, a Soul Calibur farming sim. AJ, when you hear about like us, city folk who didn't grow up on farms, didn't become weren't one with the earth. We hear about farmers and they're like toiling at the land and they're just they're doing it. They're working their blood, sweat, and tears in this. We think as city folk, it's like, oh, they're just, they're making sure the dirt is good or they're mowing on their tractors. It's like, no, it turns out, you know what you have to do to grow fucking wheat, AJ? You need to beat it in a fighting competition. I want to do a farming simulator, but instead of like watering it every day, you need to beat it in a fucking fight. And every plant that you grow on your farm has a different style of fighting that you then need to do. So you need to not only fight it until it gets to full maturity, then you can harvest it. You also need to build your own skill trees. You need to train, so you have other plants that you use to train on, and then build your own skill set and build your own. I want to do Stardew Valley, but like instead of actually farming. It's a fighting game.
There. I don't think there's any skill trees. I think there's just a skill ceiling, right? Like, I don't think that there's any way to upgrade your farmer, but you can learn the actual, frame hits, iframes, animation cancels. You got to actually learn how to play this fighting game. There's no skill. There's no leveling up. There's just getting better at fighting your crops.
Okay. So I'm thinking it's like one of those things of it's like any farming game. You have quotas to keep, so you need to have X amount of wheat or X amount of tomato, X amount of pumpkin or whatever at the end of your harvesting season. So
Hmm.
how do we make that to where it's like not because plants can't move. So I'm wondering, how could you build a fighting game when one character doesn't move at all? And it's like I'm just immediately getting that image of that level from Cuphead where you go up against the flower and it just like it stays in place, but it can like shoot shit at you. So maybe it does a lot of projectile based stuff. Maybe there's some platforming involved. I don't know. You could.
Yeah, I mean, like fighting and platforming work really well hand in hand. That's why,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
we had that's why we have Smash Brothers, and I don't know if there was platforming in it, but I feel like the Grand Blue Fantasy like adventure mode should have had platforming if it didn't, because that sounds like
Mhm.
it would have been dope.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
So
I
what?
think what we need to do here is we need to like. It sounds like um, farming games a little bit. We need to look at Soul Calibur and see what kind of threads we have here. So when I say the name Ivy, I of course am thinking of Ivy Soul Calibur with her
Uh-huh.
cool whip,
Uh-huh.
and I'm curious how Ivy gets put into a farming. Is she our farmer?
I think I would like it to be the backdrop to this game is that this is like maybe a fighting character. Let's say it's the characters of Soul Calibur. This is their retirement. They retired from like the fighting tournaments or saving the world as like the Soul Calibur games. If I remember correctly, the Soul Calibur games is like a constant back and forth between like the ultimate good, the ultimate evil, because you have like Nightmare, who's like basically a guy that got taken over by this sword and became this biomassed like pure darkness, pure energy. So what I'm thinking is those are characters have retired from their fighting to become
Farmers.
farmers, but they don't know how to farm, so they just use the skills they learned in their fighting careers and apply it to the farming scene, and it
Yeah,
somehow
why do you need a
worked.
tractor? You have Nightmare. He could just
Yeah.
do his cool thing to
Well,
till the grounds.
Well, what I'm thinking is to kind of loop this back into Soul Calibur is that maybe the reason that these plants can fight is because they're all infected by Nightmare. So you have to defeat them in a fight. Because I think that's how it works, right? In Soul Calibur, of like the only way you could rid somebody of their Nightmare sword is to defeat them and take it. I believe is how it works. So if
I
you
thought
do
you had to
that,
kill him, and that was the whole point of the plot in Soul Calibur 5?
I it's been a long time since I played Soul Calibur. I played a lot of it when I was a kid. That was the game
Okay.
where that had the dude that had a katana that he fucking pogo sticked on, right?
Ah,
God, that
Yoshimitsu.
yeah, that guy was so fucking cool, actually. Um, so what I'm thinking is like maybe it's a constant battle of, oh, you know what you could do too is the longer like the this nightmare moves like a mold, let's say. And this is like Stardew Valley where like you can figure out what you can do with your day. And you can go garden this thing or you can go talk to these people or whatever. But the more days you let pass with this nightmare mold growing on the plants, the stronger they get and the harder it'll be to fight them and to take their harvest.
But
So
if you
it'll
do fight them, then you get the cool, like, you get points. I see what you mean. So you have to
mm,
constantly kind of choose what fight you're going to do.
mm,
Like, oh, this fight seems easy enough that I could do it. Oh, this fight, I'm so used to fighting them, I'm going to let them grow a little bit stronger. You're
mm,
what you're doing is you're taking that, like, fight selector from the Injustice games and turning that into its own narrative story.
mm. And then oh my god,
They're kind of randomly generated, but you're constantly going to be taking those points and putting them back into a workflow. And with that, you can upgrade your farm, upgrade what's growing, upgrade even maybe you fight two of those people back to back instead of just one. You're
AJ.
essentially building out your own like um tilling paths, your own gardening paths to create your own little mini arcade modes. That way you can
Mhm.
earn up and rack up more and more points.
How about this? How about this? I want to pitch you on something fucking wild. So, the beginning of the game, it's like a 2D like traditional fighter. So like Street Fighter, one person on one side, one person on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As the game goes forward, cuz like what's the thing about farming games is like the growth of it is like, hey, I have enough technology and enough manpower to harvest more things at one time. So now you're dealing with like hordes of these plants. It's not just one plant or a couple plants. It now grows to hordes. So somewhere in the game, as you like grow, it shifts from a 2D like side fighter to a fucking like arena brawler, like Hyrule Warriors-esque. So now it's like a top-down 3D thing. It's just like a sudden change that you didn't even see fucking coming.
Okay, hear me out. I think it's a gradual change. I
Mhm.
think that it's one of those things where like you start getting upgrades for yourself. We're gonna bring the upgrade system back. You start
Yeah.
getting upgrades, things like increased range on strike, increased range on strike 2, increased range on strike 3, and then you're going to increase the range of that. Like the range of it, not just the first attack having more range, but like the range itself growing. And then after a certain point, you're going to get like it starts off as like a Capcom like one on one each side fighter, strictly 2D. And then you're going to unlock something where it's like, oh, pay enough points and you're going to get the sidestep ability. And then all of a sudden, every arena acts more like a Tekken arena, where you have forward and back. And then you can like shift, like dodge to change the plane around the characters a little bit. After a while, you're going to keep playing, and then you're going to get an upgrade, kind of like the Tales of Zestiria had a system where you could unlock to be on 2D or 3D movement. You're going to get that ability where you can unlock or delock 2D to 3D movement.
Oh my god. And these are all like, let's say maybe in this town that this takes place, there's like this really really old like Studio Ghibli style grandma just running this shop, and she's like, I'm a retired ex-fighter, and all of the shit she stocks is just like fighting equipment, like brass knuckles and gloves, and just like those are the upgrades that you buy to unlock these things. And maybe
yes, and like, and then these like extra movement controls that you're unlocking are also the same controls. These are similar, or these are in a different shop than the upgrades that you would be doing to your actual arena to keep increasing it. So on one hand, you can increase your character, increase the way that you play the game, change it to that like Muso Strikers style gameplay. But then on the other side, you need to keep increasing your farm, increasing the amount of people you're going to fight per round, increasing the amount of enemies, the amount of health, things like that. So you have these two different systems that you kind of need to balance so that it doesn't turn into a fighting game where you have to fight 100,000 enemies, but also doesn't turn into a game where you have a Muso style fighter against one enemy.
Oh, that's cool. And you know what you could do too is like maybe you can organize it to where certain plants prefer, like, to fight certain plants you need to be in certain modes. So it'll be like, hey, you are late in the game, but it turns out tomatoes like they can fire their shit in 3. They can like maybe their attack is that they lob tomato grenades, or let's use like Plants vs Zombies logic or whatever. That works better in 3D because you can do the sidestep ability and maneuver out of the way of that they're throwing. But something like wheat is like just works better in 2D because they don't really have any 3D abilities, and it's just easier to jump up or down.
Oh, so the player will have a lock on. If they press like the touchpad on the PlayStation controller or something, then it toggles between the Muso style or the 2D style fighter. That rules.
Yeah. So
okay,
you can,
let's put a pin in this.
Okay. You got a game?
This comes from Gazer on Twitter, @JustGazer. Off the Grid, a game where you play a doomsday prepper trying to live off the grid in the middle of City Park. And I actually want to combine this with another submission we got from Ryan Vafezadeh.
We're
At Vafey Ryan.
Uh-huh.
Video game that gives you in-game points for shredding your important documents. Debit card, 100 points. Car registration, 1,000 points. Birth certificate, 100,000 points.
Oh, okay.
I want to gamify going off the grid.
Okay,
so here's how...
Go ahead.
Here's how the game works. It's an ARG, of course. I sign up for the ARG. I, AJ Hart, am sick of it. Maybe this is less of a video game and more of a service that we are going to provide people. But again, it's an ARG so that everybody feels like they get cookie points for doing it. And they sign up for the ARG. They give us all their important information, right? Cell phone number, email address, social security, debit card, blah, blah, blah.
They scan all of their documents into that app and then destroy it. What I'm suggesting here is that There are some people out there that need. Now I'm going into stealing social identity
No,
theft.
hold on. I love where you were going. Were you
Okay.
about to say there are people out there that need to have their identity stolen? Keep going.
Okay, this person
piqued my interest. Tell me about how we're going to destroy the financial security of Schmezos.
Okay, so here's the thing. So this person is going off the grid, right? They don't
Be
care about the
along
outside. They don't care about the
stonks?
outside world. They don't care about what's going on in the city. They're out in the wilderness now, cut off from everything. So what I'm suggesting is they use our app, and the reason they use our app is because they'll be like, "Hey, you can score points by uploading your personal data and then destroying it." And those points, if you make enough of them, translates into money. Or how about this? It translates into prepper supplies. So like, hey,
hear me out.
Upload your driver's license.
Cryptocurrency.
Well, they don't give a shit about cryptocurrency. That is like the most on the grid thing that exists.
Here's the thing. I actually disagree. I think that the Venn diagram of people that are crazy enough to try to get off the grid and people that are crazy enough to actually think cryptocurrency is legit is a Venn diagram.
Wait, no, cryptocurrency is completely legit. What are you talking about? That's like a very legit thing. It's just like it's just like fake money, and everyone that we know that has talked about it has only told us about how they've lost money on it. No, our buddy did make $1,000 last month off of cryptocurrency. He has made profit.
He made $1,000 2 to 3 years ago. When he had to sell it off to pay for rent. Dog, he lost.
Yeah, he would have had $10,000 now if he didn't pay it.
Cryptocurrency only exists to make people be upset that they don't have money to spend on cryptocurrency.
So, is that
Here's my idea.
Is that the big ploy?
We're going to create an ARG where we're going to say, hey, bud, if you delete all of your personal information, we will give you more cryptocurrency.
And they'll be
we're going to fucking destroy everyone that's like has the money for cryptocurrency.
So
how's it going? Now this is a class warfare decision. We will destroy people that can invest in fake things. I'm sick of people having money and blowing it on stupid shit.
You got so loud the connection just cut out. Yeah, like on my end, I heard you scream and then it just went.
They're trying to silence me, dude. Lucky for me, I have the recording. I know what was said, and I'm gonna get it out to the people.
Okay, so all right. I love that because the irony is the moment you're off the grid, digital currency kind of just loses the point, so that they didn't think about. So now that they're there, and they'll just be like, "Oh, I guess we're stuck out in the wilderness now. Whatever. That's what we wanted initially." But here's the thing, AJ, we have access to all that data now. I have access to social security numbers, driver's license, birth certificates. What am I going to do with that data? Who am I going to sell it to? How much profit? Because you have to balance you had to for say all of their things. You gave them 10,000. I don't know how much.
I did give them 1,000 bitcoins for them to destroy their social security. Yeah, that's true. I did have to spend money on that.
So, how would you recuperate costs? Are you just then it just becomes this
I have all of these super explicit sensitive data on a human being. You know who is willing to sell and trade and buy said information?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg, baby.
Mark Zuckerberg. Oh my god.
I'm gonna take that guy's social security, birth certificate, and debit card information. I'm gonna be hitting up all the big names. Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all of those shit bags up there. And I'll be like, hey bud, I've got Donovan's secret information. Give me the money. Now, I know what you're thinking. AJ, this seems like you're just kind of be crushing the people in between the Bezos and the Elons of the world. Like, you're crushing the people above you, but not at the tippy top. And it's like, well, look, you're right. But someone...
God, I feel dirty now. This concept makes me feel really gross. All right.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, the odds are of we could probably get Elon Musk's cybersecurity information first, right? There's no world where I'm not able to get Elon Musk to invest in my Bitcoin stunt and then sell him to Mark Zuckerberg.
No, dude, I feel like dealing with Elon Musk, if we tried to sell him something, that old man would buy and sell us instead. And I don't I fucking hate I don't think anybody should be that rich, but man, like
God, he would use his goddamn blood money, huh?
all right. I want to give you a couple lightning round games, all right?
All right.
All right, this one comes to us on Reddit from Too Many Bees, a Scribblenauts style a Scribblenauts fuck a Scribblenauts style Fairy Odd Parents game. God fucking what the shit? Let me try that one again.
One more time.
Unless all of this is very funny, keep it in.
Well, if you fuck it up this time, it will be hilarious.
A Scribblenauts style Fairly Odd Parents game. So I was thinking about this. You have the cool thing about Scribblenauts is that you come across the problem, you can draw whatever you want to solve that thing. Or you have to draw and then pair it with like a name or something like that. What I'm thinking is what if you went across a game like that, but in the background, you only have a limited amount of uses that you don't know. So going through a game that's like, I can wish to solve anything, but you only have, like, it's random rolled at the beginning or whatever. You only have 30 wishes in this entire game. So it's like, but you don't know that. So, like, is this my last wish? Is this, like, gonna be my final wish? Is there, like, some sort of system?
Are you told that it's limited at the very beginning?
No, you are not told it. This is cool. This is spiritual successor, bro. Like, you think we communicate with our players?
Of course, yeah.
Like, remember when we made that Resident Evil game where they're like, the first level is like, yeah, it's gun blazing, awesome adventure, and then you find out next level it's just like there's no more ammunition at all in the game. I want that same energy.
Where we put werewolves in it?
Yeah, the one where we put werewolves in it, and then unironically now they have werewolves in the actual game.
Yeah, hey, no joke. I do think Chris Redfield is a werewolf. Heads up on that.
Yeah, well, look at the new trailers, dude. Also, speaking of video games, you know what was the fun? I know. Okay, I had small tangent.
Welcome to Spiritual Successor, sometimes a video game podcast.
So, last week they released the trailer or some teasers for The Village, and the big thing that everybody noticed was that there was a really tall woman in it, and everybody's reaction was, "Oh, there's a big woman." A big 8-foot tall woman. Oh, please don't step on me. Oh, please don't chase me. Oh, please don't murder me. Unless, and then just like that's
no 3 evil goth witches. Don't catch me. No.
And that was just the absolute funniest fucking thing. Because I think I don't know if what Resident Evil's. I don't know, it's Capcom. They're fucking horny. Like, look at all the Resident Evil games. Like, especially the earlier ones that were just, like, really shitty about women in games. Like, they were fucking just needlessly horny at that point. But they still have, like, maintained that to where they're like, that must have been on purpose, right?
I think that Capcom was, like, really horny in the early aughts and then started cleaning themselves up. But I think that Capcom, at a point, Pavlovian dog response to all of us to be like, Capcom's the horny brand. We're allowed to be nasty about those games. And here we are.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say, like, this is, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like that was the reaction the day of launch. It was not like how when you and I talked about it, it was like, now there's just fucking werewolves in the game. Does that make sense in the Resident Evil universe? Is that
Nope.
weird? It's like, no, everybody's like, God, there's such a big lady and I want her to beat me up. And I'm just like, I thought it's just the camaraderie that I think the Resident Evil community felt in that moment was kind of
everybody admirable. Like everyone's like, oh, Resident Evil? Yeah, we all want to be killed by the big hot lady, huh? Yeah, all of us.
I just thought it was so funny. But what I'm saying, circling back to this Scribblenauts game, limited amount of wishes. You find out in the middle of the game that you are out of wishes, and then the game either just ends or it's just.
I love the idea of it just ending. I love the idea of a game that just like, oh, you can't go any further past this, and then credits roll and you have to start again.
And
I
hoping you're
love that idea. Like you blatantly know that there's more game. Like it is so easy to tell. Like you have like all these check marks that are like, oh, 10 out of 15, 22 out of 35, things like that. And you're like, oh, credits? I must have missed something. And it's not that you missed things, it's that like there was more.
And the fact that it's the amount of wishes that you have is randomly rolled at the beginning of the game just makes it like you're just constantly in this fucking terror of like, okay, I'm gonna make this wish because I need to get across this like gap in this ravine or something. Is this gonna be my last wish? How many is this?
It will be random rolled, but you will be like at minimum you'll have enough to get to the end of the game. But like it's one of those creative based games. You don't want to min max that. You don't want to be like flying rideable gun and just like solve every puzzle like that.
Oh, maybe that's the thing about it is like maybe anything you create. That's it. That's way the game still stays playable is like anything you create enters your pocket. So like if you have a limited amount of wishes that's randomly rolled, you then like everything that you create should have multi-purpose uses. So it'll be like, hey, you made a chainsaw flying pterodactyl, or a chainsaw flying pterodactyl, a pterodactyl
Hell
with
yeah.
chainsaw. Then after you create that, you can keep it in your pocket and be like, okay, would this be usable again in this situation? But then because it's random rolled, it'll be like, okay, did I have 3 wishes this time, or do I have 30? So it'll be just like maybe
You have a pocket size of like 3. You can only cycle between 3 things.
Oh, that's interesting. So like you can make a bunch of you can make random amount of wishes, but you can only hold on to 3 things. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, you got a lightning round for me?
Yes, this comes from Joe. Thank God it's Friday Langlois at _Giuseppe. FPS arena shooter with asymmetric but hopefully balanced factions as different teams, just like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, but add other factions. Robots, pirates, dinosaurs, anime, glam rock stars, aliens, etc. Every season adds a new faction. Now, of course, I think Joe was on the money starting with Plants vs. Zombies, but might I suggest another alternative?
What's up?
You know what game I think had a really, really bad name?
Which game?
For Honor. What a stupid name.
Okay.
Because that game could have and should have been named Samurais versus Pirates, or Samurais versus Vikings versus Knights.
You're right. It would have been way fucking cooler. But then they were trying to be elegant about it, man. They didn't want to just lean into that hardcore
but now
fucking
we could do
energy.
Pirates. Now we could do Samurais versus Vikings versus Knights versus Pirates.
And then every season it changes the title of the game to add that new faction. So at the beginning it's
and
those
then
3.
It's Samurais versus Vikings versus Knights versus Pirates versus Ninjas
versus Glam
and then
Rock
it's
versus...
Samurais versus Vikings versus Knights versus Ninjas versus Pirates. I fucked that up already. Damn.
Wait, hold on. You know, this would be so funny because I think we would be the only one. I think we would be the first ones to discover this. I wonder if Steam has a character limit on the title section when you upload your game. So it'll be like, that'll be like our branding. It'll be like, we were the first ones to discover the character limit on Steam, or we complained so much to Steam because of our cool fucking game they had to increase the character limit on their Steam game page.
Yeah, because like Steam's all of a sudden like, oh, we had enough to get you up through ninjas. But what we weren't expecting was Samurais versus Vikings versus Knights versus Ninjas versus Pirates versus
Glam Rock versus
Glam
Robots
Rock versus Robot versus. Hey, no joke, I had one that I was gonna slap on the bottom of this one, but I lost it somewhere along the name way.
And just to add a little bit of salt to it, like the parentheses that's underneath the game are like not the tagline, but like, you know, I'm trying to think of Divinity parentheses original sin, you know, or it's
yeah.
It
The
also has
title.
Yeah, that has to be like also extremely long, like the epic battle of the last island on Earth the game.
I'm going to propose to you this. I believe that every time we do another update that slaps another name on it, it is whatever the game is, semicolon blank edition. So it'll be like Samurai Viking Knight Ninja Pirate Robot Glam Rock Cowboys semicolon the final edition. Now, of course, when we get after Cowboys and we put on like
astronauts,
then it's like the Extreme Edition or the Complete Edition.
You know what's so funny about this? You and I have spent more time talking about the naming convention of this game than what the game actually is. And you know
it's
what?
It's just gonna be For Honor, but with more classes. Next.
Oh, okay. I was just about to say, like, we should just. That's it. All right, I have one final lightning round game for you. This one comes to us from Alley Cat on Twitter at Millennium Hoo Ha. Supermarket shopping simulator where you can only get items by stealing them out of other people's carts without getting caught. So what I'm thinking this is like a multiplayer game that either you can play locally or you can play online. This
is what I'm doing when the pandemic is over.
This is so you have different shopping markets that have different layouts and everything. There are a bunch of AI people going around doing their shopping. That's what generates like the stealable shit. So then you all spawn in and you each take turns like, and there's a limited amount of material. Like, I think this game only works when there is a limited amount of shit to steal. Like, if there was, like, say everybody needed orange juice, but there's 5 orange juices, what's the point of stealing it? It only works when there's, like, 1 copy of everything. So you have to go around. That's how the game starts. You go and find these AI people. You steal from them. And then it becomes a battle of, like, stealing from other people's carts. It is all stealable until it is scanned at the cashier thing. So you have to find the thing that you want, take it to the cashier thing, and get it scanned and pay whatever. And that's how you collect the points for it.
God,
but
dude, I know
until
that,
point,
I know that
stealable.
like real life prank YouTubers are like the scuzz of the earth, but I could imagine this being like a trend online of people being like, "Hey, so here's the game. We're gonna go in with me and my stream squad are going into the supermarket to steal other people's groceries and then get out, and then we're gonna cook something afterwards, and we can only use ingredients that were stolen from someone's cart." Like, this sucks to think about it happening in real life.
Are you saying they would play the game? Are you saying they would go troll the game, or they would go in real life to do it?
In real life. I'm saying that streamers and YouTubers in real life would go out and be scuzzbags and go do this to real people. But like on the other hand, I'm like, was this be that bad? Like it's obnoxious.
Yeah,
but like harmless and kind of super funny.
No, this is how it would play out, AJ. So like I'm in the store, I got myself a nice little bag of Ritzes or something. I get to the shopping thing and get to the cashier. I'm like, I guess I didn't grab those Ritzes. And then that's it. And then you just like, and then it's like an episode of The Office where it's just like me close up, like, I guess I didn't get those. And then it just fucking zooms to the dudes laughing their asses off behind me. And just like, why are you laughing so hard? It's like my reaction was nothing. Like, and I feel most people would react that way.
Okay, but the alternative would also be very funny because could you imagine walking through the grocery store with your cart of things and you watch a teen run up and steal the Ritz out of your cart? Like, you would just be like, why?
Fucking doing? And
what
then,
are you doing?
You know what would happen?
Is this what you do?
I just reach my hand to the fucking right and grab another Ritz bag, and then that's it. That's it. That's the fucking. That's all it is. Like, but here's
all you're doing is convincing me that this is harmless and something that we should advocate for our audience to do.
But see, no. Here's the thing, though. This is dumb and stupid enough that I feel like YouTube personalities would do it, like vlogging, like toxic vlogging personalities would do it because
What's
you know
up,
how they would
everybody?
do.
It's me, your boy. I'm Super Marky, sweeping this place, but only through other people's carts. Let's go, gamers!
And you know what they would do? And you know what they would do to like make it like better? They'd be like, hey. They would show up after stealing this person's shit. They would like show up to them at the cash registers. Like they'd be like, they do this like whole fake thing of like, hey, I'm not actually gonna grab these things that you wanted, even though I put them in my cart. Do you want them? And then they try and get themselves brownie points to feel better about themselves. Be like, yeah, I stole that thing, but I did the right thing at the end. Look at me. You should totally subscribe to this channel.
Dumb bitch has snack packs. So now I'm gonna pay for her whole shopping
Yeah,
cart.
and then he said, then after that, he's like, yeah, no, buy my merch that just says "Be a good person" on it, man. And you know how much that shirt is? It's $40. Some of it
Nothing's
goes
more
to charity.
rebellious than being a good person. Buy my shirts, little kids.
Yeah, this is a very big attack on Logan Paul. I think that guy's a piece of shit. I feel like we just described a lot of his videos.
I don't think Logan Paul would pay for somebody's groceries afterwards.
No, he said he would, but he never released the footage of it. So we just like he would be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna return their thing, and then I'm gonna pay for their food. But he never includes footage for some reason of like him busting out his credit card and paying for the thing. It's just we're led to assume that he did.
All right, Blake. We got to pick a nug.
Okay. What do you feel's our nug, brother? What's on your mind? Because I'm like, I like the fishing game. I think that'd be fun because I don't think we've made a dating game trailer yet, which would be kind of fun.
We haven't. We also haven't done a fishing game yet.
We haven't done a fishing game. You're right. We haven't done a fishing game. I think that should be our nug then. Just like.
And again, I do believe that we haven't touched a fishing game because like. I don't think either one of us touches fishing games when we play video games, right? Like I know like every time I play like a JRPG that has fishing in it, I avoid it like the fucking plague, right? Final Fantasy 15, I did everything for every single one of those boys except Noctis cuz he wanted to go fishing. Nier Automata had fishing because fishing JRPG need fishing. And I avoided that like the plague. Yakuza had I think it was Yakuza 2 had a whole mini game about fishing, avoided that like it was. That's right, the plague.
I think there's a big audience for it though, and
there's a huge audience. It's just not me.
I want to give actually a little wholesome story about fishing games, by the way. So, with this whole like quarantine shit going on, and it's just like it's hard to get outside and stuff like that. So something me and my family did is that we all bought ourselves like VR headsets so we can all hang out and chill and stuff like that. So my two parents, I walked out. It was like something like 7:00 at night, and I walk out, and there's just the two of them sitting in the same lake in VR, just fishing together. And it was like kind of one of the most adorable things. It was just like it was really quiet. They were just like really relaxed, and they were both fishing. And I just thought, I feel like
there's a Black Mirror episode about that.
Really? About just playing VR
No,
games?
not really. Not really.
I mean, that show's unpredictable, bro. So I would have.
I think I'm going to start using that. I think anytime I hear somebody give me like a cute story that involves technology being used in like a fun way,
you'll shit on it and be a bad person.
I'm going to shit on it with the sentence, there's a Black Mirror episode like that.
See, that's fucked up because I actually felt like some revulsion because it's like, oh, Black Mirror is commentary on like how we abuse technology. So it took me from this like moment of like, wow, they're using technology to have to enrich their life and do something really beautiful. I'm like, oh fuck, is this bad? Is this bad? And I didn't realize it? Am I not looking at it right?
No, I just, I like Black Mirror, but I think a lot of it's like really alarmist.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, yeah, of course. So all right, we have our fishing game. So just to confirm, well, let's go over it real quick. So you basically have to go to different areas to collect things to bring back to people you want to date. But while going to those areas, you meet new people that might take your interest and you want to date more. Every day, you have a limited amount of time to spend with certain people. So certain things are on time frames of like, hey, if you want to date this person, you need to make sure you get them X thing by the third day or something like that.
Yep.
So and it's all done through motion control on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, all the fishing is like, it's a complex fishing RPG done through motion control on the Switch. There's going to be like a little store that you have to go to buy bait and buy new lines or upgrade your fishing rod, things like that. Okay. I say upgrade when really I should say switch because I don't know anything about fishing, but maybe you need different like fishing rods for different kinds of fish. I've never fished before.
So could you do a thing? Okay, wait a second. I have a little add-on to this. This is
again, this is important. We have HD Rumble.
This is a game of, so I'm trying to figure out how you can do a thing of like, what do the dates look like? And two things stand out to me. Is that the Nintendo Labo thing has to be done with two people. So like maybe it's like an actual like ghost situation where one person's sitting behind the other and they're both like both of their hands are on the labo thing. So this is like a couples game maybe? Or is there something we can do in game where the person you're on a date with, say you're on a date with Swamp Man, and is there like something where you guys are competing to go for the same fish, or is there like a romantic thing where you guys are like sitting next to each other and
I see what you
solving a
mean. Some
puzzle
sort of
together?
gameplay change that signifies a date versus like
Yeah.
just the general grind of the fishing game.
Yeah, because like Honey Pop, it's like a memory game when you're just casually talking to people, but then on a date, it becomes that like Bejeweled style puzzler. So I'm trying to figure out like, so we have the fishing game, and it's just a fishing game, and it uses Nintendo Labo. But what can we use? Could we use the fishing pole in a new way? Like, oh, you know what would be AJ?
I
This
know
is
what it is. Nope,
Oh,
I know what it is. Everybody
oh,
stop. Hold the phone. I know exactly what this is.
I think you and I are on the same page here. I think you and I are on the same
Blake,
page. Go ahead.
why we are on the internet. We are men. We are affected by some toxic masculinity, and so in some ways we understand men and what men do. Blake Rayo, why do men put fish photos on their Tinder profiles?
I actually have no fucking idea. And anybody
to prove that they can in fact provide. I assume.
Oh.
So
I do not, if I meet any dude that has a holding a fish on their Facebook profile, I don't talk to that person. No,
I usually don't talk to people like that either. Generally there is a Venn, like full transparency. No shame if this is what you do, but there is a Venn diagram of people that I find myself talking to, and a Venn diagram of people that put like fish photos as their profile photos. And for me, AJ Hart, those are two different circles. Now that's nothing. That's not a conscious effort. I think that's just who I am as a person. You know. It okay. Just like a lot of the hobbies don't match up. Particularly, I'm vegetarian. They obviously are not. I hate sitting around doing nothing all day fishing. They obviously don't. They obviously are fine with that. You know what I mean? Like there's things about me as a human being that I think like and this is me blasting me. I think that fishermen probably cannot stand me, AJ Hart.
Okay, so what are you suggesting then? Are you taking pictures of yourself with these fish to increase your likability?
People are fishermen because it gives them the power of being able to provide. It shows how they can go out and make good and make do. We're bringing these fish back to our fish date partners because we want to prove to them, look what I can do. You ask for fish, I bring you fish. Simple, but I can go further. The dates are Cooking Mama style mini games.
Oh, you cook the fish together. Oh, that's so good. I love that, actually. Okay.
But if you do bad on the Cooking Mama mini game, you can end up blowing the date. So don't blow.
Yeah. No, I think, dude, you're onto something there. Okay. I think that's fucking great, actually. And you know what you can do? This is the thing I wanted to add on to this, but I'd love the mini game, and I think we should do that. You know, like how in any sort of romance game, there's always a meter of like that shows like how much they love you or how close you guys are getting. Are
you about to propose a hunger meter?
Not a hunger meter, but like there's a little graphic that shows like each of you has the other on their hook, and you just like you are both reeling each other in. So like,
oh, that's cute.
So it's like it's not like one person reeling in the other. It's just like they have their hook on you, you have your hook on them, and it's just like every time you get a little bit closer, it tugs a little bit, and like you just see both of them like get little hearts in their eyes or something. And I think that just would be wicked adorable. So okay, so you do, and maybe do you unlock like new recipes, or like it does like this really cool after you depending on how well you cook during that meal, unlocks like multiple endings of that date. Like it's awful.
No, oh yeah, like a good, bad, and awful endings. Yes. Or good, bad, and great endings.
Yes.
And I think that the way that it works is like you're given the instructions. Like the very first time you do the date with somebody, you're given very hands-on, like slow instructions. But by the time you're on like the final date with somebody, you're given the instructions rapid fire right at the very beginning. You have to memorize it and then do the whole meal off of memory. I'm wondering if maybe instead of like a Cooking Mama type thing, it's like a cooking simulator thing, right? We have our Joy-Cons. We have all of our Joy-Con buttons and our motion
you have
controls.
to like flip pans and like stir the rice.
Yeah, you have
and
to
other
flip
things.
pans, grab things. I'm wondering if this game maybe would work even better in VR than in Switch.
No, like
but I
a bunch
love
of...
the idea of forcing somebody to use Joy-Cons as though they were using full VR controls.
In Mario Party, there's a bunch of little cooking mini games. So like you could definitely do this as like a Nintendo Labo
I want you to have to like grab knives and like turn fryers on and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like you totally could. Like with the screen, it just shows you where your hands are. Yeah, and you just point it at the screen. Yeah, you could totally do it.
Okay.
All right, cool. So it becomes a cooking simulator, and I just one little cherry on top of this. So like the final date, like the date where you decide you're going to become like a unit. This is where the game ends. You have to cook the first meal that you ever cooked for them at the beginning of that thing. So it'll be like, hey, you cooked rainbow trout supreme or whatever. I don't know. I clearly don't cook. You have to remember how to cook that meal all over again. And maybe that's just like that's like the final date, and depending on how good you do that, like dictates like, hey, is this like do you win the game or not, or something?
Oh,
like that.
better idea. Better than like I think that they give you hints as to what they want you to cook, but no one ever actually says what they want on the final meal. You just have to use like your intuition of what kind of things they like
your own little
this
recipe
person likes
book.
deep fried foods. I know. You know what? I'm gonna make them a little bit of fish and chips.
Ooh, some like tempura on the side, like some shrimp tempura or something like that. Dude, that's rad, because it's like that really plays into that whole memory thing of like every date that you take up to the final one gives you clues towards the final meal. And like the final meal takes elements from every single area in the game. So you got to get a little bit of alligator from, the swamp. You got to get a little bit of rainbow trout. You got to get a little bit of shrimp. You got to get, whatever. And then that's like the big meal.
Important thing for this game. There is no in-game note system, right? Like I know that that's been something that's like happened in dating games more recently to help streamline the process, right? That like there'll be like an in-game profile so you can see all of the notes. You have to have your own third, like on the side, second screen, or your own pen and paper notes on all of the characters.
I like that. Oh, dude, that's adorable. Okay. All right. We gotta figure out, AJ, what's the name of this game, and then we gotta go to patch notes, because we're a little bit past the mark.
Yeah. I want to see if there's anything that we could do with like reeling in.
Ooh. Like reeling in. Hey, AJ, a real romance.
A real romance. Okay.
That
feels like a subheading, you know what I mean? Like that feels like the colon, a real romance.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Let me just name out some fishes. Goldie, Calypso, Nibbles, Nessie, Sushi, Captain, Finley, Moby, Bubba, let me read out some romance game names.
I'm gonna look up some fishing terms.
Okay. This is what happens when neither of us knows anything about fishing.
Yeah, I don't know jack all about fishing.
AJ, just call it fucking Hooked, a real romance.
There it is. Hooked, a real romance.
It's fucking super dumb. All right.
But like the artwork says Hooked, and then the icon for it is like a big heart shape, but it's two like fish hooks that are making the heart shape.
Oh, that's so good, actually. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, expect a trailer for that next week. Are we ready for patch notes, brother?
I'm ready for patch notes. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patch Notes. Today for Patch Notes, Blake has a special request for you. Blake has bugged me about it every single day for the last 3 weeks. He's been like, AJ, I want to ask for this week. I'm like, are you sure, bud? He's like, yeah, I really want to ask for it, but I'm nervous about asking for it. I've never asked for this before, and so I just hope that he's brave enough to ask to actually do it on Patch Notes this time. So, Blake, you wanna? Go on, bud.
Hi everybody, welcome to Patch Notes. I'm a little nervous.
I already
right
said
now.
that. I already said that. I already did that part.
Hey, okay, AJ, don't put me on the spot and then chew me out for being nervous. I'm trying.
No, you-
I'm asking something very important right now, and I'm gonna trip up on my words. I'm gonna be a little bit shy about it. I just wanted to ask you, if you're cool with it and all, can you maybe I don't know, leave us a review on iTunes. Maybe leave us a little star. Doesn't have to be 5. If you think we're like a 3 or a 4.
It should be 5. No, it should be 5.
AJ, I don't want to pressure them. This is a big ask right now. This is a big ask. If you feel like giving us a review on iTunes and talking about some of the shitty games we've made, or telling us how cool we are, maybe that one's a cool one. We've been called not cool things on our iTunes as well, which hurt. Which makes me a little shy now. But if you feel like leaving us a review, please do. It would mean a lot to us.
Yeah, no, those reviews really do help us out a long way when growing, especially when we're this small still. Those reviews can really bump us up.
Mm-hmm.
As always, of course, while we close the show, I want to say our intro and outro music is Cheap Shop by Anna Monoguchi, an excellent song from an excellent game from an excellent band. Which, by the way, that video game is available now again. It is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the video game.
Yes! Fuck!
It
I gotta
is
wait
finally back.
I gotta wait 5 months for my physical, but everybody playing digital, I'm so happy for you.
As always, I have been your host, AJ Hart.
And I have been your other host, Blake Rhea.
This has been Spiritual Successor, and these are cool games
That should not be boring.